Okay, so Paladins on the Nintendo Switch is finally here. Let's jump into today's review. So Paladins, it's arrived on the Switch, and right now you can pick this title up for $29.99. But I think the big question is it worth investing your money now? Or are you going to be better off waiting for that free-to-play version with a date TBD still, but later this year? Well, first of all, you're probably asking, what do you get for your money? And I've got to say, it's a pretty comprehensive package, to be fair. First, of course, you're going to get that early access to the game. Right now, you're only going to be competing against those willing to make that early access investment. Then, on top of this, you also unlock all current and future champions. Now, right now, there's 36 of them, and this also includes additional voice packs for each, mounts, which are horses that get you around the map quicker, and exclusive skins. Now, these are purely cosmetic, yes, but the champions themselves, 36 of them, if you play this on free to play, you're looking at about 5 to 6 hours minimum to unlock each. Now, with the content covered though, what exactly is Paladins? While it's a hero fighter, it's often actually held unfairly in comparison to Overwatch, and yes, it definitely has its similarities. But this one, it does more than enough, in my opinion, to stand on its own 2 feet. Battles here, they're absolutely chaotic as would be expected, but while Overwatch encourages the use of multiple characters in battle, this one, it relies on you using just one character throughout an entire battle. Where Paladins really sort of differs itself is its robust customization to allow you to create more rounded out characters outside of their core skill set. So let's say, for example, you take on the role of a support, someone who could support you from a long range, but really they have little health to go near the front line. In Paladins, you're going to be able to customize to increase health, shields, and regeneration to make that frontline ability a very real opportunity. I've got to say, it's a clever system which requires tactics from the second you load the game up. This system is all contained within a card-based system where each character can have a 5-card loadout attached. I found myself spending hours in this screen alone just setting up different types of loadouts for different situations. This experimentation, it's going to be key to finding that magic combination that suits your playstyle perfectly. And yeah, that's where I'd say invest your time almost immediately on first starting up the game. I personally here, I settled for a champion by the name of Vivian. Her movement speed was somewhere near the pace I'm used to. One of her abilities was an iron sight, which is absolutely essential for me. I need that additional targeting. And then she had a shield which allowed me to kick some serious ass at close range when I needed to. Now, as you do level up, you're even going to get to augment specific skills. One of Vivian's abilities was a sensor which would tell my team when an enemy was within a certain distance. But a few level ups later, quickly revealed a secondary function that turned this pretty harmless sensor into a bomb that exploded on contact. It changed my entire frontline attacks. This thing became a weapon for me. Now, when it does come to the gameplay modes, while we're on that, we have 3 available from the release date. Team Deathmatch. This is the first team to 40 kills. A King of the Hill mode where you hold a point for 400 seconds. Or Siege, where you have to work as a team to transport a bomb to a target location. Here, the first team to 4 points wins. Now, while all modes, I've got to say, they're great fun on the Switch, it's actually difficult to recommend Siege right now, just because it's the most strategic mode. And with the Switch, well, with Switch games in general not having really voice chat activated, it makes it impossible to coordinate a team. Nintendo are stating the feature is available to everyone, as Fortnite is proving, so hopefully Hi-Rez are hard at work in this department right now. So one quick note I do want to make is when you actually dive into these modes, Paladins, it does a fantastic, well, amazing job of making you feel like an absolute badass initially. I was getting kill sprees of 10 to 15 kills with ease. What I later discovered was until you reach level 5, you're playing against bots, and the second the switch was made to live players, things for you and for me, they got a hell of a lot more interesting and challenging. Basically, you're gonna go from seeing this screen a lot
Victory
to seeing this screen a lot. Now, I will say I did face a few gameplay bugs during my time with Paladins, so I want to touch on them quickly. First of all, it can be a long wait to start a game. They give you like 60 seconds on character selection, another 10 seconds for customization, and then frequently 40 seconds just standing around waiting for a battle to commence. I think they could be a little bit more aggressive in this area, cut it down a bit, and just let us get into sort of the fun and let us get to work here. Then, this is a weird one, but when joining each battle, there's like a loading bar, and as someone who's taking part in a battle, you have to press the corresponding A button to enter. The problem is, if one person who opted to join the match doesn't press that input, it kicks you all out and starts this process all over again. I don't understand why they didn't just keep everyone ready in place and fill up those empty spots instead. Finally, and probably the most curious problem, was the spawn points, and they can just be unusual, and by unusual I mean just fucking broken. While you're always in the same area of the map, I frequently found myself spawning facing walls, the ground, over the edges of cliffs, which I actually walked off once as well. And backwards, so you initially go the wrong way, which happened a ton of times. A map would have been really useful, as I often didn't know I was even facing the wrong way, so I was running around like an absolute ass. It's in no way game breaking, but it needs some attention. Either put a map in place or fix the spawn points, or preferably just do both. Okay, so let's jump into graphics, and I've got to say, Paladins, when it comes to this area, I was really impressed. Technically speaking, this one, it's solid for an online shooter. The frame rate's locked at 60 frames per second, docked or handheld. I faced zero lag or any sort of connection issues during my roughly 15 hours of gameplay so far. The characters and world design here, they're cartoonish, but it never takes away from the intensity of these battles. Then each character visually just feels so unique as well, which is a huge achievement with such a large cast on offer. You go from everything from soldiers to fairies to goblins in mech suits. Creativity here, it's always on display. Now, I will admit, the graphics here, they're not quite on par with the PC or Xbox counterpart. But you know what, it's pretty damn close. I doubt very few will complain, and really, when was the last time you was able to take your PC or your Xbox on the go? This, Paladins, it's a legitimate competitive first-person shooter in your pocket, and that's an absolutely incredible achievement. When it comes to issues in the graphical department, there's not really much, but variety would be my only feedback here. The map selection, it's around 3 to 4 for each game mode, and they're very repetitive. The stylistic nature of these visuals, it made it feel like the game was making just maybe slight adjustments from map to map at times, and I'd love to see that creativity from characters spread out into the map selection. Finally, I just want to touch on audio very quickly, and there's not a lot to say, but music, it's in the classical fantasy genre, which you would expect, and I've already forgotten what it sounds like, honestly. But the real weight here comes from the characters and the weaponry. Each shot and move, it feels largely unique. It carries the necessary weight to portray the attacks, and I was really impressed with the sound design. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the characters and the attached dialogue though. It's a nice bonus to have this, especially from a small development team, but a bit more variety would have been nice instead of just repeating that same line for each character pretty much over and over again. So if I'm going to judge this one with a score, then I've got to say I'm going to do it without the idea of the pack. It's nice to have them additional characters, but what's the game actually like? And I've got to say, you probably tell this already from my review, I absolutely love this. It's comparable to Overwatch, but it brings enough to the table to make it its own. It could very much be a sign of games like Overwatch coming to the Switch eventually as well. And for that, I really think this one deserves everybody's attention, but not just because Overwatch might be here, but this is a fantastic game. With that in mind, the Gaming X awards Paladins on the Nintendo Switch a solid 8 out of 10. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video game vlog.